everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Ultimate Human Experience podcast. It is your girl, Rashida. And today we are going to be talking all about embracing imperfections, the power of self compassion in a very, very judgmental world. With that being said, let's get into it. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to another episode. We always appreciate it because we love the wisdom, but not only that, we love to be able to mix that up in terms of who we connect with. And so it's nice to see that I've seen both of you in different episodes, but now we are together. So I think this is going to be a great conversation. How are you guys doing?
Good, very
Good.
good.
So, as you know, I always like to make sure that I give a proper introduction to the practitioners that are on the Hera Collective. And so today we have Shelley and Raizelle. So go ahead, whoever wants to go first. You can start with Shelley, just because I see that in that direction. And please tell us the gifts that you offer to the world.
All right, thank you. I'm Shelley from Shelley Sacred Space. That's my business name. I'm an intuitive energy worker. I work with tarot and Reiki and crystals, and I do all kinds of guidance and healing through those modalities, plus the other ones that I learn as I go, because I never stop learning.
Thank you so much for sharing. And Raizelle.
Hi, my name's Raizelle. I am a sound healer that provides sound healing journeys for one-to-one groups and wellness events. Sound healing helps bring your energy into balance and alignment physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And sound vibrations change your brainwaves into a meditative state. With continuous playing of the instruments, the vibrations heal at a deeper level. And my clients may get better sleep, help with balanced emotions, and even aid in physical ailments.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing. So, in today's episode, we are talking all about embracing our imperfections, the power of self compassion in a judgmental world. What are your thoughts in terms of we're now in a time where we are learning to be unapologetically ourselves. And a lot of the times we don't even know what that looks like. We've never seen it. And we're in a time right now where it's more about the feeling. What does it feel like, right? The embodiment of it, not just what it looks like, but the feeling that comes along with that. So, can any one of you feel free to share, what's your personal thought on that thought of perfection along with that imperfection?
Do you want to go first or you want me to?
You can go first. That's a big question.
It is, it's loaded. And it's funny because I find perfectionism is something that it's been instilled in us since the beginning of time. And it's one of those things that's never attainable. So when you can finally get to the point where you realize that it's not attainable, you hold less value on it. And it's not that it's not attainable because we can't be perfect. It's because we're not meant to be. We're meant to learn, and we learn through mistakes and that. So you can be perfectly imperfect, as I like to say. That's basically where it kind of sits with me. So it takes a long time to get there, though.
Yeah, thank you, Shelley.
That was a really good answer. That was pretty much definitely what we need to work on to give ourselves more self-compassion with the perfectionism and just the self-criticism. So just giving yourself kindness and understanding and treating yourself as if you would treat a friend that was in that state of mind of that critiquing of yourself, and not giving yourself that kindness and that patience when you quote unquote mess up or maybe get something wrong and have a misstep. It's completely normal, it's completely human, and it's part of the human experience. It's something that we signed up for. Even though we are souls, we are having a human experience. So giving ourselves that compassion with the critiquing and the perfectionism, that's what makes us beautiful human beings. That's what makes you you. And not everyone is the same. So having those imperfections and accepting yourself when you have failures or any mishaps creates character development.
Thank you. Also, I want to add on that it also opens the heart more to knowing that there isn't this attainable thing, and it is it is what it is, like what both of you said. It's just that, like, learning lessons and making mistakes and moving through that and, like, not beating yourself up so much. Do you think that growing up for yourselves, you had a moment? Because you know kids, like, they really do think that they're perfect in every way, right? They don't see those flaws until external experiences affect that and allows them to question. Not only allows them, it forces them to question things that they never questioned before. Do you remember for yourself where you felt like, wow, okay, it's not as perfect? I guess you can say maybe the world isn't as perfect, because when you think about perfection, sometimes you think of like the kindness, it's like a perfect little, princess kind of thing. So when was that for you guys, Shelley?
It actually, for me, it happened quite young because I never had the standard typical upbringing. I was a product of a single parent. So when you're the only one in the neighborhood that's like that, you learn fast that there's different ideas of perfect, whatever the word, being perfect. What's interesting, what I really did do when I was a kid was I was able to not hold on to the differences and more look at, yeah, but I might not have this, but I have this, this, and this. So I'm okay. And that was a key point to moving forward and beyond that. And I did that at a young age too, not knowing it. It's only in later in life when I've actually sat down and looked at it and I went, wow, I was pretty smart when I was younger. And then as you got older, you stopped doing those things. And then you had all this stuff that you had to work through again, even though you had kind of done it naturally when you were younger. So it's been a very interesting journey, but I was really lucky with the support that I had because I had enough people in my life who cared and loved me that made me know that I was special and unique to them. And that was a good thing. And that was beneficial. Not saying I didn't have some hard times, but, I try to look at more of the positive ones and go from there.
Yeah, I hear you. Thanks. Thank you for sharing that. Raisel, how about you?
Definitely, my childhood upbringing wasn't the best, you could say, but as a child, I don't think my surroundings affected how I felt about my life. When I think about being a kid, it didn't sink in yet. Just the hardships that I saw around me, it didn't really sink in for me until you reach a certain age and you start to piece things together and your brain changes as you grow up and you start to realize a lot of things that the adults in your life had difficulties and hardships and maybe financial problems, everything like that. That doesn't sink in to you as a child. As a kid, you I remember just being outside riding my bike, and that was just the only thing I wanted to do. I didn't have any worries about any hardships or anything like that. Like the only thing I would say is maybe school was difficult and maybe schoolwork was difficult and navigating that as a kid was difficult, grades and all that stuff. But it was always just fun. That kindred spirit that children have, that innocent outlook on life. It's like looking at the world with rose-colored glasses. The world even looks more colorful when you're a child. And as you get older, I notice the colors start to fade a little bit, which is something interesting. I see it in my nephews and my nieces, how they go about life and how confident they are. And they're so witty and so charismatic. And it's so sweet to see who they really are at the core of them. And that's how we all were at one point as children. We were our most authentic, true versions of ourselves at that age because we just were wondrous about the world. We found everything so exciting and interesting and fun loving, and it was more fun back then. And we had community with all of our other friends, all of our other kid friends, that we would have this energy with each other. I know back then, I don't know how kids are now, but our generations played outside.
Yeah.
We had that. We would ride our bikes everywhere. We would go to the park all the time. We would play all these games at the park, and I don't think kids nowadays really have that, but there's still that kindred spirit within them. So
Hmm.
that's definitely something that is different when you're a child.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, go ahead, Shelley.
I just wanted to add to that because with the children and the light, like even when they make a mistake, they don't
Mhm.
beat themselves up. They're just like, all right. And then they keep going. And you're like, that's what we need to do. It's true.
True.
They
I love
don't
that.
even acknowledge that that was a mistake. They're just like, oh, okay, won't do that again and move on. It's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We could learn so much from children. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You are right. They always say that children are they're still closest to the light, so they see things in that way. And then as you get older, you get closer to the light again, and so you kind of see it similar, but just on different ends in terms of years, like even decades. But then that really then ties into that inner criticism, right? You really have to train your brain to do it less, right? I say to my kids, it's the monkey brain. Like you're constantly going like, whoa, that voice is carrying you on a wild tangent. Do you want to, does it make you feel good? Like recently, it's more of how do you feel? We're in this time of feeling our emotions as uncomfortable as they feel. It makes you feel vulnerable. It makes you feel naked to do that. So it's almost as if like the inner criticism masks all of that vulnerability that we honestly so desperately want to share and need to share. That how do you learn to quiet that mind in a way that's simple, right? I mean, you got to catch yourself on a regular basis, right? So it's how do you catch that and then like face it, have like a convo with it, and then when you feel like that, we're at peace, we're not at odds, we're not resisting, but we're at peace with whatever showed up, we can then release that. What would that be for you guys?
So again, another loaded question. This is where your shadow work comes in. This is where you have to bring it to the light in order to recognize it. If you don't ever listen to that little voice inside of you, you can't hear what it says. So you have to literally pay attention to it and be like, I want to hear what I say. There's some tips, like sometimes you can literally do talking out loud. So if you're home alone or whatever, you can speak out loud those thoughts that are coming through your head. Don't want to do it out in public too much, but that helps for you to hear it. Because if you can't hear it and you don't know that you're saying it, you can't bring it to the light. You can't say, is that true? Does that feel right for me? And then you can't go, no, it doesn't. What does feel right? And here's what I'm going to put in its place. But you have to do all those steps, but you can't do those until you acknowledge it and until you realize it. And a lot of the times it's embedded so deep, you don't know it's there until somebody else says something or you hear it somewhere else. That's why self-help books with different people saying the same thing and why healers, all being different but saying the same thing, makes a difference in this world. And that's why we can't ever have enough because we're the ones who can help bring the light. The self-help books can help bring the light. Sometimes it's a simple, this is a switch of one word, and everyone goes, the people that it connects to goes, oh my gosh. And it's like, yeah, you read that 2 months ago, but you didn't catch it then. And sometimes it's the timing because we can only handle so much at a time. But there's a lot of steps to go through that to get to the point where you're not battling it. And especially to get to the point where you can say, I remember that. Yeah, we're switching that to this and move forward from that. It takes a lot of work and a lot of consistency and a lot of grace because
Yeah,
you really have to not knock yourself over. Oh, I forgot and I did that again. Oh, I'm so dumb. No, you're human and you're learning to change it. I'll
thank
stop
you.
there.
But I love it. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. It's very true. While she was speaking, the thought came where when that self critiquing voice comes, it's because it's not accepting what's happening in front of you. So, especially as healers and entrepreneurs and being self employed, you have to go with the flow. So, you may have a plan, but sometimes that plan isn't exactly as it's supposed to go. And that's where we can get caught up with that self critiquing and that perfectionism because it didn't go as expected. But that's life, that's being human. It doesn't matter if something goes wrong, it's a matter of how you handle it. It's a matter of how you give a solution, and it might come out better than you planned, actually. This is just the navigating of our emotions. So, a lot of the self critiquing, that voice, was built in us by the people around us and it was learned. So, when we were talking about being a child, we didn't have that yet because it wasn't instilled in us too much until we reach a certain age and maybe we're being faced with more questions of, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? You have to start thinking about school and your career and life and how you're going to provide for yourself. All of these hard questions that you get asked, maybe middle school and high school, that's where that happens. Our parents, our adults that raised us, start going in on us to prepare us for the world because they know how hard the world is. And if they're not hard on us, we won't be able to be strong enough to face the world by ourselves. So, understanding where that self critiquing comes from, when again, things happen out of our control and happen that isn't planned, it's important to not bully yourself because that self critiquing voice can feel like a big bully.
Mm.
And you have to stand up for yourself with those conversations you were saying, Shelley, saying it out loud, writing it down, and having a conversation with yourself. And how I like to do it is I change my tone of voice. Tone
Mm.
is very big for me. So my critiquing voice feels like someone's yelling at me. And when I realize that, especially as a healer, we can be really hard on ourselves because we're holding space for people. So that big expectation of being perfect or being able to hold space where people feel safe, it's a big ask. It's a big expectation as healers and entrepreneurs to hold space for our community. What we're preaching to our clients, we also need to take our own advice. How can we be telling people when they're in these hard healing moments when we're with them energetically to have compassion for themselves, to hold space for themselves in their bodies and their minds when we are not doing that ourselves?
Mm.
So, yeah, I switch my tone of voice. I speak softly, and that self-critiquing voice that feels like I'm yelling listens because it's soothing. So giving yourself that kindness and that compassionate, loving voice that you give your clients and you give a friend or anyone that is asking advice from you, give that to yourself. It's okay to take a moment and be overwhelmed and be anxious, but don't let it drag on the whole day. That's not fair to you. And again, that comes with the self esteem. That character development develops your self esteem. It helps you develop that high self esteem, which means accepting and valuing yourself. So that's definitely something I'm working on. And I hope it helps someone to understand that they can do that as well.
I love, Raizelle, that you added in there because I do believe that with that self esteem, that builds your character, right? That's the steam that you need to continue going on your journey, even in the moments when we're like, I need a rest, right? Lately, I can't lie, I've been like, ugh, I need a rest, like a deep rest. But I love that you added in that piece of just continuing even in those moments. But Shelley added in, take your time. It doesn't all happen all at once. So I don't know if you want to tag on to that,
Yeah,
Shira, about what you think about what that means for you.
I think it's very interesting, the self-esteem part, because I think it goes hand in hand, having strong self-esteem and self-love and self-acceptance with having self-compassion. Because I think a lot of people that I meet and a lot of us who are very hard on ourselves, maybe there is a bit of that department. That's how I see it. I'm guilty of like being a perfectionist I think most of my life, and I believe a lot of us are, and especially I feel women and moms, to be more specific, they get, or I guess it gets harder to maybe putting everyone else before yourself and not having that self compassion to give yourself a break when you need a break, to understand when you're needing to slow down. And we're just living in a time and a society that makes this way harder. Um, and from my perspective, where I stand, I meet a lot of women, especially, and moms who struggle with this part, and then end up with having lots of um, health issues, digestive issues, anxiety, and depression, which comes from basically not giving themselves that break that they need, because they feel like they have to do, and they're like comparing themselves to all the social media perfect pictures out there that's totally unrealistic and unnecessary, but it's what our society did, what capitalism did to all of us. And to me, like, I feel strongly that this is affecting women way more. And it hurts to see a lot of people, especially really kind and loving, supportive people who are there for their families, there for societies, there for their communities, are not able to do the same thing for themselves, to practice that self compassion towards themselves as well. And it's funny, I read a study recently about how people who have self compassion um, scored like really well in. There was a study that was done, and they had like a math test for different people, and people who and it was really difficult. Not people didn't do well, but people who had more self-compassion and self-love scored way less in the stress level after that test was done. And it also affects the expression of a lot of autoimmune disease and lots of health issues.
Thank you, Sharon, for sharing. Um, that really makes me think about what are the tools now in this time that were suppressed, things that we did way before. We're not talking just about like this small piece of our lineage, but we're talking about the whole extent of it. Because I do believe at one point our ancestors were able to be in community, especially women, because I get it. We're all women here, but yes, we are affected on levels that sometimes we don't even understand. And Shelley, like you were saying, as you get older, as you grow, you learn new things. I'm learning those things as well as it changes every year, whether it's from your 20s to your 30s to your 40s, like it changes. And it changes drastically, especially I feel for our sacral area, which as women, we are those nurturers. We do hold space. It's in us to do that. It's just that now we can say it like at what cost, because it does take community. And just like you said, Shereen, it splits us up and it makes us think in this individualistic way when in actuality we do need to commune together. Like we do need to lean on one another and to be honest in those moments when we need help or we need support or we need a lending ear. I think that then comes into that whole like having compassion for yourself to say, today I'm not okay. And I need some love.
Yeah. I mean,
What's
I can
interesting, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
What's interesting is when we talk about ancestors in the community and things like that, back then you actually didn't necessarily have to say you needed help because the community was around you. So we're now in an age where we have to start realizing it, feeling it, and speaking it. Because back then, all the girls around you just picked up and did what they needed to. So if you were having a crappy day and you were, you know, postpartum, anything like that, your community picked you up and they helped you with the kids and they helped you with that. And everyone got together when those times happened. So you didn't have to say, I'm having a really hard day. I need some compassion or I need some support. You didn't have to do that. So we now have to be a community within ourselves and say, I need this and I need to be able to speak this to the people who care. And we have to make sure that we keep that community,
I
right?
I this really hard, just like becoming a mom in my fees in a different country, and things are done very, 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 very different here. It's like you're like where in my like my where I come from in my culture, it's like, yes, as exactly as you said, Shelley, you didn't need to say that you're not feeling well or that you needed help that day, because everyone was there, everyone was around you. It's like that village that they talk about, it was there. It's like now I'm like, well, it takes a village. Where is the village? You're digging around and you're kind of trying to create and makeshift a village from here, and maybe there is no village in your area and you're trying to do an online village. Things are different, and things are yeah, it's very like if I'm like in the past, or even when I look at my siblings, it's like if they need something, it's like they just pick up the phone, or even if they don't pick up the phone, someone will be calling to check on them to see what they need. And especially at times of like, if you're if you have kids or something, and it's things have shifted. It's there is a lot of demands on us from like, and it's there's part of it society, but there is part of it it's we put as women on ourselves. We are at like we're demanding so much. We were not created so that you are working at home, being a mom, and then caring for a child and or a family, and then at the same time you're full-time working outside and you are responsible for like all these things. It was not meant to be this way. You need to have the support, and then you look at like the society around you or the social media, and it makes you always feel like no, it's me, like I have to do this and have, so we push ourselves even harder and harder. um and this is something that I work like just last month. I had a beautiful mom who was an entrepreneur starting a business, getting up at 5 a.m. to do her workout because she has to look good, because she has to be fit, but then she also has to go back and prepare the dinner and put the kids to sleep and care about the mortgage and do the taxes. And she was like, her body was like collapsing and like screaming, asking for help. And I'm like, yes, you need to slow down. You can't be doing this, and you need to start asking. If you're having a big day at work, then you need to ask for help, for someone to help you with the dinner or order to take out, and maybe not get up at 5 and 6 a.m. You're beautiful just as you are. Maybe take some days where you're not working out that hard, and just taking some days for meditation, for painting, for breathing, for like just to like practice that love that you're giving to the family, that compassion that you want to take care of everybody's needs and everybody's emotion. Like practice that towards yourself first. And it's amazing how we needed to work on this for a good 3 to 6 months.
So, what would you say? I love how you were sharing all of that. This conversation is a very beautiful conversation. What would you say then? Because I wanted to say about your tools. What are tools that all of you use in practice? But I wanted to go deeper, of course. I wanted to be a more loaded question, as Shelley would say. What would you then say with all the knowledge and wisdom you have right now? What would you say to your younger self, that certain age? Like for me, it would probably be like my 8-year-old self and maybe like my 13-year-old self I would want to talk to. And I want to bring them together and have this conversation as one person. What would you say to them that would help them right now in this moment as we navigate this world?
I would say that you're enough and you are more than worthy, because that's a big piece of why we're so hard on ourselves. We don't feel worthy. We feel like we're not enough. And especially around that age, me being a teenager, I did not feel enough. And you overcompensate. And when you overcompensate from that place of unworthiness, that's where the burnout happens. That's when your body starts to fight you because something's wrong. So feeling worthy and being more than enough is definitely the message I would give both of them, because they really are more than enough and worthy to be here and to be human.
Thank you.
I completely agree with that because that's the stem of it. The other part that I would add to that is a lot of the times we feel that way because something has happened. Somebody has had a reaction and we've taken it as it was our fault. And being able to step back and ask yourself, is that true? So I do a lot of journaling, and my question when I hit something, I'm like, is that true? And then I will quickly put some points on whether yes or no and if it is or isn't. But when somebody else is having or has done something that's made you go, oh my gosh, I did something wrong, knowing that they have to own their part of that, especially if you didn't do anything, they're just in a really bad mood and they've just taken it out on you and you're like, did I do anything wrong? No. Okay, so what is this? Kind of getting into that frame of mind helps to distinguish whether it's you or external circumstances, and that can make a difference as to how you respond to it. And we want to respond, not react, which is another thing that we have to learn over time.
Thank you, Shelley.
That's beautiful. I totally agree and resonate with both of those. I think what I would add is you're not responsible for other people's emotions or opinions. Just really be yourself and accept and love you who you are. You don't need to take the world on your shoulders.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for this beautiful conversation. I feel very thankful and also humbled because I enjoy listening to other people's thoughts on and views about what we all go through and we all experience. I didn't add in mine. I should add in mine too. What would I say? You're whole. Always remember that you're whole. You're whole. No matter all the different imperfections, all those little things, it means nothing. Just be you. Whatever that looks like is beautiful in its present moment. So that's what I would say. I want to highlight everybody's gifts once again. You'll be able to hear it and see it, not just hear it on the podcast, but you're also able to see it on the website. So you can go to theherocollective.com and you can connect to all of these beautiful practitioners. We have Raizelle, Shelley, as well as Sherien. Please, once again, just share what it is that you will be sharing and how they can connect with you. Everybody you can connect through theherocollective.com. But if you're looking for Raizelle, go ahead, Raizelle, share again what it is, your gifts that you're offering.
So I provide sound baths and sound healing journeys for one-to-one groups and wellness events. And sound vibrations help change your brain waves into a meditative state. And with continuous playing of these instruments, these vibrations can heal you at a cellular level and at a very deep level. And I help with getting maybe balanced emotions, helping with physical ailments, better sleep, anxiety, and everything that the human body holds, I help you release.
Love it. You. Shelley, share your beautiful gifts one more time because this is how you're going to be able to connect with Shelley.
I am an intuitive energy worker. I work with modalities such as Reiki and crystals to bring guidance and healing and to help your body to heal itself through those modalities and bring you some clarity and confidence in your world.
Thank you. And please, Sherien, share.
I am doing a lot of things, I guess. Mainly all holistic wellness. I'm a nutritionist. I work in supporting the body's digestive system and liver health to increase energy and balance hormones. And I draw from different modalities. I've been doing this for a bit of over 20 years. I also draw my holistic approach or my holistic programs. I go from yoga, meditation, and pranic healing as well as nutrition.
I love it. What I love as well is that you all offer unique gifts that can help somebody discover their true authentic self and their spirit. I love that it touches on mind, body, and soul with everything that you offer. And I just want to say thank you once again for coming on here, for sharing your thoughts and wisdom, as well as your tools and your practices. You can find them through modality, ailment, or symptom at theherocollective.com. Once again, this is the Ultimate Human Experience Podcast. We are out. Peace.